Multiple language support. Hello, everyone. We're going to talk today about how do you support multiple languages in Android applications. So this is going to be a very entertaining video because we both speak thousands of languages, right? Let's just go back to the Android operating system. It runs on millions of devices in many regions. And in all of these regions, people speak, of course, even many more languages. So if you develop an application in your particular language, what do you think? You can't really publish your application around the world. I mean, even if you do publish, people around the world will not use your application. So because of this, you really should learn how to support multiple languages in your application. Ain't it grand that you happen to tune into this video right now? So, you're asking me again, aren't you? How do you support multiple languages? Just be quiet and let me know. Will you develop another application for every other language? That, could be a workaround. Not a very time-efficient one, is it? So what I'm saying is you will develop one application, and within this application, you will give multiple language support. So the system works like this. The Android operating system considers English a default language, and you will develop your application in the English language. Then after that, you can support other languages, but you really do need to be careful. You know why? It's not an afterthought. You need to consider supporting multiple languages from the very beginning. If the device language of the user is English, Android operating system shows your application in the English language. That makes sense. So if the device of the user is in another language and your application supports this language, Android shows your application in that language. If your application does not support the user's language, Android shows your application in the English language again, which again is really no use at all. So let's say, for example, you develop an application in English and you support the French language. If the device language of the user is French, then your application will be seen in its entirety in flashing French language. But if the device language of the user is German, your application will be seen in English again because your application doesn't support the German language. You follow? So now, after that heartbreaking news, let's go to Android Studio and see how we do this in practice. So, of course, I've already created a new project in Android Studio. And I will add a text view and a button to the project. I'll change the layout width of these components to wrap content. And also, I'm going to change the text size of this text view. I think the bigger size looks better, at least in my eyes. So now I want to change the text of this text view. So before, we could write text in this text area. For example, I can write in here, hello world, but we don't want to do it like that because we want to support what? Multiple languages. So I'm going to delete this and write text view again. So if I click here, you see how a new window opens? So in this window, I'm going to click add new resources and click new string value. So after I click the new string value button, a new window opens again. Now, in this window, I need to define two parameters. The first one is resource name, and I'll just give a name to this string. So when I need this string, I will call it by using this name. Let's call the name, the name can be hello. Second one is resource value. And this is the string that I want to write on the text view. String is hello world. After that, I can click OK. Now you can see that it writes hello world on the text view, but if you look at the text area, it writes in there string/hello. What's up with that? So if I click here again, you can see there is a keyword here. Its name is hello, and the string is hello world. So now I will change the text of the button. I'm going to click here again, click Add New Resources and New String Value. So when I click this button, I want it to show a toast message. So because of this, the resource name can be show toast, but in the resource name, you cannot put a space, right? So I will just write show underline toast, and the resource value will show a toast message. So click OK. Now you can see on the button, it writes show a toast message. But in the text area, it writes string/show underline toast. Right? So you see where we're going with this. So now I can see all of the strings in the string XML file under the values folder. So I'll just open up this XML file and I can see here all of the string resources. Name is hello. String is hello world. Name is show toast. String is show a toast message. Now, when I add new string resources, they are added here too. So if I want, I can, just add one directly right here. Either way, it's the same result. So when I click this button, I want to display a toast message. So I'll check the ID of this button. And then after that, I'll define this button on the Java side. And let me just write here, button show. And in the onCreate method, show equals find view by ID r.id.button. And I'll add a click listener to the button. Show.set on click listener. New view on click listener. And in the onClick method, I'll write toast.makeText. Now, before I continue, I will need to define other string resources. So I'll open up string XML, and I will write in here string name equals toast. And the string is, this is a toast message. So now I can call this string in the toast message. So now I can go back to the Java side. I'll write toast.makeText. And here the toast method, it takes 3 parameters. The first one is get application context. Second one is message. Now, hopefully you can remember, normally I write message between the quotation marks, right? But this time, if you noticed, I'm not going to write inside the quotation marks. So I'll write r.string.toast. The third one is toast.length, long, and .show. So the application is ready for English. Let's run up the application. And the application looks like it's working. So let's see, when I click the button, it displays a toast message. Okay, so now we've set it up so that we can support another language. So there's a world icon here. You see that? I'm just going to click on this icon and select Edit Translations. And it opens in a new window. So in this window, I can see all of the words that I need to translate. And I have 3 string values here. First one is application name, and the others are hello and toast. And the same 3 strings are here too. So I will add another language here. I'll click this world button and select a language. Let's see, how about if I choose, I'm going to select Turkish. Now also, you can see here how many languages that Android supports. All right, so now I'm going to write here translation of every string. And I will write the application name in the Turkish language. And I will also write translation of hello world and the translation of this is a toast message. So when I add a new language, Android Studio added automatically a new string XML file. And this file has a Turkish flag. So I will open this file. You can see here the same string names equal translated strings in the Turkish language. So when I run my application, it's going to support Turkish. So now I'm going to change the device language and select Turkish. So when I select the Turkish language and open my application again, everything's changed. And unless you can read Turkish, I'll let you know that now my application is working in Turkish. Oh, and also when I click the button, the toast message displays in Turkish as well. That's how it works. So if you want, you can support other languages. You just go through that scroll and hit them up. You know what to do. So we learned how to support multiple languages in this video. And, I don't want to see you back here until you support every single one of them. Just plan. Have a go and see what you come up with. I'm going to see you in the next video. I can feel it. Support different pixel densities. Hello, everyone. We will learn how to support different pixel densities while developing Android applications in this video. So Android devices are amazing. They come in different screen sizes and different pixel sizes. If we look at 2 different Android devices that have the same screen size, we can see that Both of these two devices have different pixel densities. For example, one device has 160 pixels per square inch. Another device has 480 pixels per square inch, but it's in the same screen size. So that means that if you want to use a picture or an icon in your Android application, you're going to need to consider these different screen densities. Otherwise, your picture or icon's not going to look, well, smooth. It certainly won't look the way that you want it to look like in your application, in your stellar award-winning application. So, of course, you should avoid this kind of problem, but how are you going to do that? If you want to develop user-friendly and well-designed applications and win those awards, let's figure it out. So I want to show you in a real-time example. So here there are two devices, and these devices have the same screen size, but these devices have different resolutions. So if you don't consider these differences in the resolution from the very beginning, your pictures may and will look blurry. Now, sure, you can use a low-resolution picture or icon in a high-resolution device, but your picture's going to look all blocky, blurry, and, well, just bad. So if you want to avoid this problem, let's not use pixels in your measurements. What? Mind blown. So Android proposes another measurement unit. We will use DPI as a measurement unit. Now, actually, of course, there are a lot of things, but we can speak about pixels and DPI, but you know what? I don't want to confuse the issue here. It does get a little confusing for everybody, but you just got to know these 5 sizes, okay? It's going to be enough for you for right now. So this is how the system works. When you use a picture or icon in your application, you will use the same picture with 5 different resolutions. These resolutions are MDPI, HDPI, XHDPI, XXHDPI, and XXXHDPI. If you use these 5 different resolutions in your application, the Android operating system will use the picture in whichever resolution that particular device needs. The Android operating system considers MDPI as a base measurement unit. The other dimensions are determined according to this size. So I'm going to show you how to resize your images according to these dimensions. Now, here's a table about these measurements, and you can study the table. For example, let's look at first MDPI. It means resources for medium density screens. 160 DPI is MDPI. Another one is XXHDPI. It means resources for extra high-density screens. 480 is XXHDPI. Now, you don't have to learn everything on this table. Also, you don't need to know which device has which density either. I mean, unless, you really want to. If you put every photo, though, that you're going to use in your application with these 5 different densities, then Android will use a necessary photo in the necessary device. So it takes a lot of the guesswork out. So I'm going to show you how to do this really easily, actually, in Android Studio. So let's go to Android Studio and do some practice. So I created a new project in Android Studio. So in this project, there is a MIP folder. And in this folder, there is, I sound like a magician, right? And in this folder, there is a photo, but with 5 different versions. So the most important thing is all of them have the same name. I repeat, all of them have the same name, okay? 1 photo, 1 name, 5 different versions. All of them are the same photo, but different densities. So I'm just going to right-click on the map folder and select Show in the Explorer. Now, if you look here, you can see that there's a folder for every density. And in every folder, there's a photo. So how do we test these photos? I'll show this to you as well. So now you know that we use virtual devices to test our applications. So what do? Click Tools, AVD Manager. And in this window, I will click Create Virtual Device. So in here, you can see that every device has a density value. For example, this device has HDPI density, and you can test your HDPI picture right here on this device. Also, you can check it using this table. So on this table, you can see which resolution corresponds to which value. For example, XX HDPI resolution is 480 DPI. And if you see this DPI on the device density, you can understand that this device has XX HDPI resolution. So you can find the right device to test your photos, in other words, in this application. Now, I want to make you aware of another situation. So let's say, for example, you have one photo and you want to use this photo in your project. How can you produce 5 different densities of that photo? Well, my friends, that's why we're here in Android Studio. Android Studio does it quite easily. Of course, there are 2 ways. It's up to you. One way is to produce an icon using a photo. An icon is basically a small size photo, right? Another way is to produce a normal photo with different densities. So I'm going to show you both ways. First, I'll show you how to make an icon with 5 different densities from one picture. So I'm just going to right-click on the Res folder and select New Image Asset. And a new window opens. So I can see here 5 different densities: MHDPI, HDPI, XHDPI, XXHDPI, and XXXHDPI. So when I select a picture, it will produce icons that have 5 different resolutions. So I'm going to select a new picture. And I can change the name of this picture. Let's call it Image Example. So now you can see here the same picture with 5 different resolutions. Oh, come on, it can't be that easy. Stick with me, because after that, I'll click Next. And it might take a moment or 2, depending on your computer. So right in here, Android Studio shows me where to put these icons. And then I'll click Finish. So now it's ready. All of the icons are under the Image Example folder. So I'll just open these pictures, and you can see all of them here. I can use these photos in my project now. So I'm just going to close them up. And I will add this icon in the action bar before or right in front of the application name. So also, you will learn how to add an icon into the action bar. So let's do that. I will go to the main activity.java file. I'll just write in here, get support action bar dot set display show home enable. And you can make it true or false. I will write true. Now in the second line, get support action bar dot set logo. And I'll write way of the logo inside the parenthesis, r dot mipmap dot image example. And the last line, get support action bar dot set display use logo enabled. And this will also be true. That's it. So now my icon's ready. Now, I don't know if you noticed, I did not select icon resolution. Why? That's right. The Android operating system will select it automatically. So I have 3 different virtual devices here. Now, every one of them has a different resolution. So these are custom tablet, Google Nexus S, and Samsung Galaxy S6. Their resolutions are XHDPI, HDPI, and XHDPI. So I'm going to show you these 3 devices. This is the tablet, this is the Samsung S6, and here's the Nexus S. So now I'm going to run my application on these 3 devices. So first, I'll run it on the custom tablet. Secondly, I'll run it on the Samsung device. And lastly, I will run it on the Nexus S. So now you can see 3 different devices. All of them have different resolutions. One icon with different resolution versions. I don't even have to decide which image to use. Android does all the decisions for me. So I just produced images with different resolutions and put every image where it should be. So that was how to produce the icons, right? Now I want to show you how to produce the pictures to use in your project. For example, in the image view. So if you want to use a picture in your project, you should add this picture with different resolutions like we've been talking about. Otherwise, of course, your picture will be blurry or just really crazy looking on different devices. And you can't control what device. Well, I suppose you could, but you don't want to control what device your application is used or played on. So I'll give you an example from experience. Your photo has low resolution and the device has a high resolution. It's just not going to look good, right? Now, before we start, we do need to install a plugin to the Android Studio. So I will select File, Settings, Plugins, and Marketplace. So in here, I'm going to write Android Drawable Importer. Now, I've installed this plugin before. If you did not install it before, you will need to install it now. It's about 37 megabytes, so it should be done by now, just depending upon your internet speed. After you install this plugin, you will need to restart Android Studio. I'll wait for you here. So after Android Studio restarts, you will right-click in the Res folder and select New, Batch Drawable Import. So if you see this, your plugin is installed properly. If you don't see this, you need to go back and install that plugin. Take my word for it, or you didn't, or whatever. Just do it. So when I click on the Batch Drawable Import, it will open a new window. In this window, I will click plus and select a picture. So after that, Android Studio is asking me where to add this picture. Click OK. Source resolution shows me the density of my picture, and my picture looks like it's XHDPI. So my picture has 5,000 by 5,000 pixels. Now you can also see here which pixels correspond to which resolution. And it'll produce for me other resolutions using my picture. So I can check or uncheck some of the options. And I can change the name of the picture in here. I'll just give the name Shutterstock. I can define my location to save the picture from here. I can also, I'll just click OK and then OK again. Now it started to create images with different resolutions. So it's magic. You can see here the same photo with 5 different resolutions. So if you have pictures with different resolutions, you can skip this process and you'll just add the pictures into their respective folders. But if you just have one picture, or you just think this is pretty cool, you just want to add this picture this way and you're done. So what I'm going to do is right-click on the Shutterstock folder and select Show in Explorer. And what do you see? Every photo has the same name, but under a different folder. So if you were not asleep during this video, we learned how to support different pixel densities. So I just want to make sure that you don't confuse this topic with supporting different screen sizes, because those are 2 different topics. In fact, what do you know? It's kismet. It must be. We're going to learn about that in the next video. So I'm going to see you in that next video, right? Support different screen sizes. Hello, everyone. So now we're going to learn how to support different screen sizes while we are developing Android applications. So Android devices come, of course, with different screen sizes, and if you want to develop a good Android application like we all do, then you do need to create flexible layouts. Otherwise, the Android operating system will take your layout and scratch it to fit the screen. So the more you support different screen sizes and different devices, the more your application will be used by people, the more popular it becomes. And really the most beautiful feature of Android is that you can support different screen sizes and devices using just one APK file. Android operating system uses, I'd say, suitable design in a suitable device. You will develop one application, but you will create flexible designs in order to support different screen sizes within this application. So when you develop an Android application, you need to consider, however, both small and big screen sizes. Android splits devices into 4 different categories according to their screen size. These are a small screen, normal screen, large screen, and extra large screen size. So, of course, What does Android consider a small screen size? Well, it's pretty much between 2 inches and 3.7 inches. Android considers a normal screen size between 3.7 inches and 4.3 inches. Android considers a large screen size between 4 inches and 7.1 inches. And an extra large screen size is between 7 inches and 10 inches. So these categories are basically phone and tablet design. So if you develop an application for smartwatches or Android TVs, you will not be using these screen sizes. So how do you calculate screen sizes? For example, you can see here in the picture, there is a phone and its screen size is 5.5 inches. And that means that from one corner to the other corner is 5.5 inches. And 1 inch equals 160 dp. So please, again, let's confuse dp with dpi. dpi is used for screen density, and dp is used for screen measurement. So I'm going to show you how dp is used in Android Studio. So why don't we go to Android Studio and see it in practice? Now, I created a new project in Android Studio, and I've added some components to this project. Now, I did this because I don't want to take up your time showing you how to do it. I think you can do it. It's easy enough. We saw how to do it before, so you can do it by yourself. I know it. You probably already have. I just used a linear layout and added these components under the linear layout. And gravity of the linear layout is center. So here we are at our design page. I can change the size of this design page, of course. If I click here, I can see other screen sizes. Size of my design page is 5 inches, and its density is 420 dpi. Now I can explain dp to you. So we use dp measurement on the component size. For example, if I write here 200 dp, the width of this button will be 200 dp. If I write here 400 dp, it's going to cover the width of the screen. So the width of the screen is approximately 400 dp. So we will use dp and not pixel. Why is that? Well, we're designing Android applications. But from one corner to another corner, that gives us the screen size. That's the point. So what happens if I change the screen size? I can see how my design is going to look on the other screens. On the 7-inch screen size, my design will look like this. Okay, so let's spend just a moment talking about the virtual device screen sizes. So you know we use these virtual devices to test our applications, and that means that we can see the different screen sizes of the virtual devices as well. So I will click Tools, AVD Managers, and after that, I will click Create Virtual Device. So here I can see the screen size of every device. For example, for the Pixel 2, screen size is 5 inches. If I click the tablet section, I can see screen sizes of the tablets. For example, the screen size of the Nexus 9 tablet is 8.86. So you can select one of these devices and see just what it'll look like, your application on these different devices. So I've got 3 different virtual devices. One of them is Google Nexus 7 tablet. Its screen size is 7 inches. Another one is a Google Nexus 9 tablet, and its screen size is 9 inches. And the last one is Samsung Galaxy S6 phone, and its screen size is 5.1 inches. So these are my devices. This is the Galaxy S6. This is the Nexus 7, and this is Nexus 9. So if I do not create another design for different screen sizes Android will take this design and it will show it, the same design, on all of the devices. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you by running the application on these 3 devices. First, I'm going to run the application on the Galaxy S6. And what do you see? The design looks normal on this device. So now I'm going to run the application on the Nexus 9 tablet. And sure enough, it's working. So let's have a look at the last one. I'll run it on the Nexus 7. And now you see my point. You can see the same design on 3 different devices. So our design looks small on large screen devices. And if I add small size components in this particular design and run this design on the big screen, well, that's just not going to be useful on the bigger screen devices, right? Okay. Problem solution. So because of this, when you develop an Android application, you should create a special design for the bigger screens. So if I use big screen size components in this design and I run this design on a small screen, well, some of the components are not going to be seen. And because of this, when you develop an Android application, you really should create a special design for the small screens as well. All right, so you get the point. Well, also, I do need to mention one other thing. So now the device is vertical, and this is the mode that we call portrait. If I change the device mode to horizontal, my application also turns, but some of the components don't look good anymore. In fact, you can't even see some. So, of course, this mode is called landscape. So users in general do not use their phone just in portrait mode. They sometimes use landscape mode. So I keep in mind that whenever I design an Android application, I also need to consider this too. So I need to create a particular design for landscape mode. So now I'm going to show you how to create different layouts for different screen sizes. Now, we mentioned earlier that Android splits devices into 4 different categories according to their screen sizes, and that means that you need to create 4 different layout designs. So I'll just right-click on the layout folder and select New Layout Resource File, and this will open a new window. And in this window, there is a size section, and I'll just select the size and click this forward button. So it opened a new category, and in this category, I can select screen sizes. They're small, normal, large, and extra large. So I'm going to select large, and now I need to give a name to the file. And again, let's be careful. The file name must be the same as the main design file. So I'm going to write in here activity_main. And click OK. Android Studio created a new layout for a large screen. So my design here will be shown on a large screen device as I design it, as I intend it to be. So I just copy these components from the other layout and pass it to the large screen layout, because I don't want to take your time about with design. You can create your own design. I just want you to see what you're going to be facing. So did you notice when I pass over to the large layout, the screen size changed to 7-inch? So I'm going to delete some of these components from the large screen layout because I want to show you the difference between the 2 layouts. And I'll just run this layout on the 7-inch tablet. Okay, so now I have 2 different layouts, and I'll run this application on the 7-inch tablet. Android Studio will choose one of these designs automatically. And sure enough, Android selected the large screen design for the large screen device. So let's go ahead and create another layout, and I'll right-click on the layout folder and select New, Layout Resource File. And I'm going to give the same name to this file. This time I will select the extra large screen size layout. And when I create this layout, Android Studio shows me this layout on the 10-inch screen. So I'm going to copy the design from the other layout and just paste it into the extra large layout. And when I use the same components on the bigger screen, they will appear small on the screen. So you should change the size of the components. And you can use the big size components on the big screen devices, obviously. Now, I will delete some of the components here so I can show you the difference between the layouts. Okay, so now I have 3 different design layouts, and 3 of them are the same name. Every one of them has a different design. So now I'm going to run my application on the 10-inch tablet. This time, Android Studio selected the extra large design for the 10-inch tablet. Now, even though I have 3 layouts, Android Studio selected one of them automatically. So I do not need to specify anything. So now I will run my application on the 3 devices again. When I run this application on the S6, the Android, of course, selected this layout. When I run the application on the 7-inch tablet, Android selects this layout. And when I run the application on the 10-inch tablet, Android automatically selects this layout. So you can see 3 different devices and 3 different layout designs. So that means that I will prepare my design for different screen sizes and put all of them in the one APK file. After that, everybody can use this APK file for their Android devices. So I can use bigger size components on the big screen layouts, right? So I want to mention again that these screen sizes are for the phone and tablet applications. If you develop an application for another device, such as a smartwatch or Android TVs, you will need to use other screen sizes. I'm sure you understand that, but I just want to reiterate that. So if I want to create a new project, I need to select project type. And I can select different project types from here. If you want to develop an Android application for smartwatches, you can select different layouts as well. Or if you want to develop an application for Android TVs, you can select this layout. And if you want to develop an application for the automobile systems, you can select one of these layouts. So all of these are indeed for portrait mode, let's remember. But we do need to create designs for landscape mode as well. So let me just show you how to create a design for landscape mode. I'll just right-click, Layout Folder, select New, Layout Resource File. Now this time I'm going to select Orientation. And after that, I'll select Landscape. And I'll, of course, name it the same as this layout file and click OK. Now, if the user changes device mode to landscape mode, this design will appear on the device. So I'm going to design the layout according to how I want it to show up on the device. So I will copy one of my other designs and paste it into landscape mode layout. and I'm going to change the design. Now I will add one horizontal layout and one vertical layout. And I will put two vertical layouts under the normal horizontal layout. And I will put some of the components in this vertical layout. And I'm going to change the layout width and height of the vertical linear layout to the wrap content. So now I have a new design for landscape mode. I know it's not a perfect design. I'm hoping that you can do better. But we're just talking about practicalities right now. So I'm going to run this application on the Galaxy S6. And when the device is in portrait mode, this design is what's on screen. Now, if I change the device mode to landscape mode, the landscape design is indeed seen on the device. And if I change the device mode back to portrait mode again, another design is seen once more. So if you want to support all the different screen sizes on their particular devices, you will need to create 4 different designs for portrait mode and 4 different designs for landscape mode, right? So it means that you need to create 8 different designs. But of course, if you don't want to support landscape mode, you just don't have to create designs for landscape mode. It's up to you. So this is the video that we learned how to support different screen sizes, and I will see you in the next one, right? I'm going to see you in the next video. There you are. Project 1, to-do list. Hello, everyone. I want to create a new project in this video. We're going to create it together. So this project we're going to call a to-do list. You can add something that you want to remember on this list, right? One of the most important things in this project, you will learn how to save data into the device memory and how to read this data back. Also, after finishing this project, we will learn how to create an APK file and how to publish this project on Google Play. So our project will basically look like this. Let's go to Android Studio without losing any more time, right? Get to the marketplace. So before we start, I do want to show you how our project will look when it finishes. So here's our application, and if you want to add a new item to the list, you can just write it here and click the Add button. And after you click the button, it will be added to the list. For example, let me write here, go to the office. So I will click the Add button. And so you see the new item is added to the list. Also, after adding the item, edit text is cleared. So the important thing here is when I close this application, the list will not be deleted. So all of the list will be saved to the device memory. So let's try it. I'm going to close the application and open it up again. And let me just mention one more thing. You know, all of the applications that we've created were looking into the device with the Android robot icon. But this time, our application will have a new logo. So when I open the application again, the list is the same and everything came back. Didn't lose any data. Yes, that's the point. Also, there's another feature inside of this application. So when you click on an item, in the list, it will ask you to delete this item. So if you click yes, it will delete the item from the list. If you click no, it will not delete the item from the list. So also let's know this, the application is working pretty slow. Why? Because it's working on the virtual device. If you run this application on a real device, it won't be this slow. So let's start up the project. First, I will create a new project. And this project will be for phones and tablets. So I selected empty activity and I'll click next. I'll give a name to this project. The name, let's call it to-do list project. And Android Studio gave a package name automatically. And I can select where to save this project from here. That's okay. And programming language is Java. Minimum API level is 15. My application will work on all of the devices in the marketplace. You remember that from before. So I'll click Finish. Android Studio will create a new project for me. So now the new project is ready. It's, of course, an empty project. Now there's an icon here. Looks like an eye. You can see how the layout design will look on the device. So I'm going to close my old project, and also I'm going to delete this text view. First, we can start to design our application. So if you look at this application, there is an edit text to edit items, and there's a button next to the text view. And there's also a list view to show the list. And when we click on the Add button, the item is added to the list view. I'm going to delete this constraint layout and write it as a linear layout. Also, I'll define vertical orientation of this linear layout. I will add linear layout in this linear layout, and this time will be horizontal. So I'm going to add one edit text and one button in this horizontal linear layout. I'll change the layout height of this horizontal layout to wrap content. And I'll change the weight of this edit text. So I'll write 4, and weight will be 1 for the button. So that means that I divided this layout into 5 pieces and gave 4 pieces to the edit text, and then that leaves 1 piece for the button. And I'll also add some space to this layout. So I'm going to go to layout margin and write 5 dp. That means that I left 5 dp of a space from 4 sides of the layout. Okay, so that's okay for now. I will add a list view, and this view will be under the vertical layout. So let's check the IDs of these components. ID of edit text is edit text. ID of button is button. ID of list view can be list. Also, I will change the background color of this layout. I will click background, select color, and select a color. Now I selected this color, but you can use any other color. What's your favorite color? We'll all know now. Okay, so the design's ready. So that means we can go over to the code side. And I'll define these three components. I will write edit text item, button add, and list view. Now before I continue, I will delete this text of the edit text, and I'll add a hint to this edit text. Hint will be add new item. Also, I will change the text of this button and write add. Okay, now I can continue. So inside the onCreate method, item equals find view by ID, r.id.editText. Add equals find view by ID, r.id.button. And list view equals find view by ID, r.id.list. Now, after that, I need an array list. So this array list will hold my items. Array list string, item list equals new array list. I'll add my items to the list view from this array list. Also, I need an adapter to connect the array list and list view. I'm going to write array adapter string array adapter. Okay, you with me so far? So good. So now if I add items from array list to list view using the adapter directly, a problem is going to occur. When I close the application, the list will delete. So I need to save this list, and I'm going to save this list to a file. I will save this file in the device memory. So that means that when I need this list again, I'll just read the file from the device's memory, yeah? So I will create a new class to save the file in the device memory. Let me just right-click the main activity.java file and select new Java class. And we can give a name to this class. Let's call it file helper. I will write saving codes in this class. Now first, I will create a constant for the file name. I will write public static file string file name equals list info point dat. So this is the file name that I want to save onto the device's memory. So I defined it at the beginning of the class because I will use this name in the code more than once, okay, and more than in one place. So if I write this name wrong, that's going to be a problem. Okay, so after that's complete, I will create a method to write the data to this file. And I will write public static void write data. And this method will take two arguments. The first one is array list. Type of array list will be string. Name of argument of this array list can be item. Second one is context. So I will write context. I will write codes to save the list in this method. And I'll use file output stream class. So this class is used to write data into a file. I will create an object from this class. I'll write file output stream FOS. FOS is the name of the object. It is an abbreviation of the file output stream. So the file output stream, or FOS, equals context.openFileOutput. And then this method will create a file in the device's memory and open it. So this method, of course, takes two parameters. First one is file name. Second one is mode. File name is file name. Mode will be context.modePrivate. Now, if I select mode private, I can reach this file from everywhere else inside of the application, but other applications will not be able to reach this file. Now, if you do save data to the device's memory, you should lock your file. Otherwise, other applications can read your file. Okay, so do you see this? Underlined in red. So, Android Studio underlined in red this code. Why? Because we need this code to be try-catch block. So I will select surround with try-catch. So now I can continue. And after that, I need to use another class. So the name of this class is Object Output Stream. All right, Object Output Stream, OAS, equals new Object Output Stream, and inside the parenthesis, FOS. Now these two classes are used together to write data into a file. So now I need to add a catch method for this as well. So after this, I will write OAS.WriteObjectItem. And with this line, the item will be written into the file. Okay, so now that's done. I need to close this file. So I'm going to write OAS.close. Now, this is important as well. Because I created a file in the device's memory, after that, I can open this file and write data to this file. After that, I need to close this file, because if it stays open, some problems can occur. Don't even want to go there. So we need to close the file. So now that the data writing method is ready, now I need a method to read this file. So I will write public static ArrayList string. Name of this method can be read data. And this method will take one argument. It is context. So how will this method read data from the file? So first I will create an array list. I will put data in this array list. I will write array list string item list equals null. And this list will be null at the beginning. After that, I will call file input stream class, and I will create an object from this class, and its name will be FIS. So file input stream, FIS equals context.openFileInput. And inside the parenthesis, I will write file name. And I need to take this inside the try-catch block as well. And then after that, I will call the object input stream class. Object input stream OIS equals new object input stream FIS. I'll need to add a catch block for this as well. Alrighty then, so now I need to write this read data to the array list. So I will write item list equals OIS dot read object. And I will need to add a catch block for this as well. So now this code will add data to the array list. But my type of array list is string. This method will read data as an object, so I need to convert it to string. So if I select this, Android Studio will do the typecasting automatically. So this method should return item list. So now I can read and write items from the file using these methods. I can use these methods in the main activity. First, I'll need to specify something. When the application is first opened, I need to check if there's a file previously saved or not, right? So if there's a saved data in this file, I'll need to take this data and then write it to the array list. After that, the list view can take this data from the array list. So I will write item list equals file helper dot read data. This. So this method will read data and then send it to the array list if there is any data. And then after that, I will send this data using the array adapter. Array adapter equals new array adapter. So the array adapter will take 4 parameters. First one is this. Second one is android.r.layout.simple.list.item1. So this is a default layout for the list view Android Studio uses. Third one is android.r.id.text1. This is also a default. You will need to write this exactly the same if you want a basic list view. And the last one is the name of the array list. It is item list. So now I need to assign this adapter to the list view. I will write list view dot set adapter array adapter. Okay, good. So now the list view is ready. And if there is any saved data from before, it will be written into the list view. Also, I want to add data to the list view when I write in the edit text and click the add button. So I need to add a click listener to the add button in order to accomplish this, right? So I will write add.set on click listener, new view on click listener. First, I'll need to take an item from the edit text and assign it to a string container. String item name equals item dot get text dot to string. Now, second, I need to add this item to the array list. Item list dot add item name. And then third, I want to clear text of the edit text. Item dot set text. Quotation marks. And this will clear the edit text. And fourth, I want to write a new item to the file. If the application is closed, data will be safe in the file. File helper.write data, item list, and get application context. Okay, and so lastly, I will need to notify the adapter to get these changes. Array adapter dot notify data set changed. Now the application is almost ready. So why don't we just run the application to see how everything looks and runs so far? So the application doesn't work. Of course, there's a problem. Do you know what it is? Now, before you stop the video and go back and troubleshooting, I'm just going to show you the problem because you need to think this through. In the File Helper class, we need to add something. So inside the File Not Found exception block, I will write item list equals new array list. So this is necessary for the very first opening of the application. Okay, get it? Yeah. So now I can run the application again. All right, so it looks like the application's working. So this is the first time and the list is empty. And I'm going to want to add some items to the list. So when I click the Add button, the items are added to the list view. But the most important thing is if the data will be saved or not when I close the application. So I'll close the application and I'll open it again. So when I open the application again, the data came back. So now I just need to complete one more thing. So when I click an item on the list, I want to delete this item, and I will add item, click listener to the list view. List view dot set on item click listener, new adapter view dot on item click listener. Inside the on item click method, I will create an alert dialog message. And hopefully you remember that, right? We explained the alert dialog in one of the previous videos. So alert dialog dot builder, alert equals new alert dialog dot builder main activity dot this. And after that, let's give a title to this alert dialog, alert dot set title delete. And then next, I will define the question. Alert dot set message. Message will be, do you want to delete this item from list? And then I will write alert.set cancelable false. So that means if the user clicks somewhere on the screen, the alert dialog will not close. And then next, I'll define the negative button and add a click listener to this button. Alert.set negative button, no, new dialog interface dot on click listener. And then that way, if the user clicks no, I will write here what will happen. Dialog dot cancel. If the user clicks no, alert dialog will close. So now after that, I will define the positive button and add a click listener to this button as well. Alert dialog dot set positive button, yes. New dialog interface dot on click listener. If the user clicks yes, I will write here what will happen as well. So if the user clicks yes, first the item that the user clicked on will delete from the array list. Item list dot remove position. And this will take the position user clicked and delete the item from the array list at that position. Second, list view need to renew. We can do this by notifying the adapter. array adapter dot notify data set changed. Third, I need to write this new array list to the file. Because if the application is closed, we don't want to lose the data. File helper.write data item list get application context. Lastly, we will need to finish the alert dialog, create code. Alert dialog equals alert dot create. Alert dialog dot show. Yes, now everything is ready and we can run the application. So look at that, the application's working, and when I click on an item in the list, it shows me an alert dialog. Do you want to delete this item from the list? If I click yes, it deletes the item. If I click no, alert dialog closes. So let's check to see if it will save the last version of the list or not. So I'm going to close the application, open it up again, and sure enough, it saved the list and it brought the list back. So it looks like our application's ready. But before we finish this video, I do want to show you how to change the logo of this particular application. So I'll need a picture for this. Now, I prepared a picture from before, so don't laugh. I just didn't want to do it in front of you to waste your time. I know that you've got plenty of things, but all I'm going to do is copy this picture and paste it in the drawable folder. And just like that, the picture's in the project. So after that, I will open the manifest file, and in the manifest file, there's a code line, Android icon. So I'll just delete this and write drawable picture. So now the logo is ready, and I will run the application again. And what do you know? The logo is added. Now, I know you can improve this project. I hope you do, with all sorts of creative, wonderful things. You can add some extra functions to the project as well if you want. You can change the design. You can support multiple languages. You can support multiple screen sizes. All of that is up to you, and it's your responsibility because you know how to do it right. So we finish our first project in this video. Next video, we will learn how to create an APK file from this project and then publish this APK file to Google Play. That's coming up in the next videos. So I will see you in the next one.